and welcome to another edition of The Great Goddess. Praise be to Goddess. Praise be to Goddess. Well, here it is, another Wednesday, and today we have for you the topic: humility is not the same thing as humiliation. And this is one of my sayings. We're doing sayings now. Humility is not the same thing as humiliation. Oh, yeah, and tomorrow is my birthday. Wish me a happy birthday. So, humility is not the same thing as humiliation. And why is it that people think that humility and humiliation go together? Why do they think that you'll be more humble if they humiliate you? Well, when you humiliate someone, you attack the person. You're not attacking traits you don't like about them. You're attacking the person themselves. And humiliating a person only creates bad feelings and makes the person feel horrible. And so we shouldn't humiliate people. We should not. Not to teach them a lesson, not for any other reason. We should not humiliate people. And why is it that some people think humility is the same as humiliation? Well, in the East, in religions like Hinduism and Buddhism, they sometimes teach that humility and humiliation go together. So there's these masters. They call themselves masters because they want to be in control of your mind. And these masters humiliate their students on a regular daily basis. They humiliate them day and night. Why? Why do they humiliate their students? Because they're so gifted spiritually and they're so enlightened that they know that if they humiliate you, they'll make you humble. See, this is how to make you humble, by humiliating you. Well, these masters are full of a crock of you-know-what. And they're a crock of you-know-what, and they're not no good. These masters are no good. These so-called masters. They're not even masters, but they call themselves masters, and they're no good, and they're a crock of BS. So, how do we navigate around people who think that they can humiliate you and make you a more humble person? Or feel that you should be eating humble pie, that you should be humiliated in order to make you more humble, and think they're doing you a favor by humiliating you? Well, the best way to do this is to ignore these people and to not give them any of your time, not give them any of your effort, and not give them any of your attention. Don't do anything for these people. Don't do anything for them. Don't even stop to listen to them. Because if you do, they're going to humiliate you, and they're going to humiliate you big time, and they're going to humiliate you in a degrading way. And they'll do it all in the name of humility. So what we need to do is tell these people in no uncertain terms, you have not made me a more humble person by humiliating me. All you've managed to do is piss me off, and I am not going to accept your humiliation of me. I am not going to accept your humiliation. And I won't accept your abuse. Just say that to them. I'm not accepting your abuse. And I'm out of here. I'm out of here. And then leave and get away from that person as fast as you can. If you can't get away from them, find somebody who can help you get away from them. Like a homeless shelter or a worker or somebody. Anybody who can, if you're in school, go to your principal or go to the guidance counselor and talk to them. Just do whatever you have to do to avoid the person who's trying to humiliate you. So we know that people sometimes try to humiliate each other to teach them a lesson, or to make them more humble, or to make them have more humility. But this is not the way to create humility in people. This is not the way to make people more humble. Because people who are proud will just be offended, and people who are not proud will be very hurt. They'll be very hurt. So what is the way to make people humble? Well, the best way to make people humble is to set a good example for them. Set an example of humility. Be very humble yourself. And that tells people more and teaches people more than any amount of humiliation can do. And humiliation is not the same as humility. So when you humiliate someone, you're not making them more humble. You're just humiliating them. You're hurting them as people. And in the East, they teach that the ego is a bad thing, and that we need to attack the ego and destroy it. And so in order to attack the ego and destroy it, they humiliate people. Well, the ego is not a bad thing. I'm here to tell you the ego is not a bad thing. It can be bad if someone's egotistical. But there's a difference between ego and egotistical. Ego is the source of one's being. Ego is yourself, your center. That's who you are as a person is your ego. Now, having a sense of self-esteem is important. And that's not the same as being egotistical. A person with self-esteem is not an egotist. They just have self-esteem and feel that they're important as a person and that they matter. And this is good. So when they tell you to attack the ego, do not attack the ego. Do not attack people's egos. The ego does not need to be destroyed. Goddess gave us an ego on purpose so that we would have a sense of self-identity. There's nothing wrong with the sense of self-identity. There's no reason to seek oblivion, because seeking oblivion is ridiculous. Okay, it's ridiculous to want to go backwards, back toward the animals who have no sense of self-esteem or self-worth or even a sense of self. They don't have a sense of self because they're animals. And because of that, we do not want to be like an animal. We do not want to have no self-esteem. So learn your lesson. Learn that the ego is not a bad thing, and that we should not humiliate people to try to make them more humble. That's the wrong approach. The best way to make people more humble is to set a good example for them. I'm Sarah Jane Alpha Wolf signing off. Have a terrific week, and don't let people humiliate.